Our last class lesson focused on what to do when we don't want to live. Today's lesson is focused on inner resources called executive functions that help us to live. You are a problem solver. You are not a problem. You were born with the inner resources to adapt to and grow from circumstances, situations, and events that may present themselves as unexpected, unwanted, or inconvenient challenges. Life is a lot like a video game. There's a level we're on, and there's a level we want to be on. The story we tell about where we are and where we want to be makes a huge impact on how we show up and express ourselves in our ordinary day. Today, we are going to learn about our inner resources named executive functions. These inner resources help us lead our thinking, feeling, and behaving to move toward uncomfortable situations, circumstances, and events. As long as we are living, there will always be a desire to level up. It's called growth. What's the plan for our lesson today? Let's start with done. The lesson will last 40 minutes. When we're done, we'll have a curiosity about the planning tool called Get Ready, Do Done. We'll use it to see if we can increase our happiness. Moving backwards, we'll do this first by giving ourselves a grade on happiness. Next, we'll learn about the nervous system. Then we'll learn about 9 executive functioning skills. And finally, use our planning tool to see if we can create more happiness in day. What do we need to get ready? A sense of wonder and curiosity. In your handouts, you have a happiness report card. Let's begin by seeing where we're at now with this thing called happiness. An American psychologist named Martin Seligman studied the science of happiness and came up with 5 core elements that contribute to this human state called happiness. Let's take 5 to 7 minutes to wonder and be curious about these 5 elements Dr. Seligman discovered. If we had a life report card for happiness, what grade would you give yourself in each of the 5 elements of happiness? The next slide will talk a little bit more about these 5 elements. Positive emotions. Do you experience more of what you would call positive or green zone emotions? Or do you feel that you experience emotions that contribute to a story that you are not enough? That something is missing? That life happens to you instead of for you? Engagement. Do you feel connected to what you are doing when you are doing it? Is your body in one place while your mind is in another? or your brain? Do you feel like you are curious and present? I'm sorry. Do you feel like you're curious and present or disconnected like a machine? Relationships. How do you relate to others and how do others relate to you? This can include your relationship to pets and animals, your relationship to the planet, to nature, the ecosystem. Meaning, do you ever ask yourself why? What answer do you get? If the answer is because or I was told to, you may be curious about wondering more about what life means to you. What's your why? Achievement, growth. Are you better today than you were yesterday? It feels good to learn and grow. Learning and growing is a process that lasts as long as you do. If you haven't already, give yourself a grade and be curious about what grade you're getting in happiness. On the bottom are 4 essential skills for learning. Kind of like on a report card, you might have participation, behavior, attendance. Moving on. Let's put the report card aside and learn about the nervous system where the executive functions live. Any discussion about the nervous system, or any system, can begin with a curiosity about living cells. Let's make this simple. We know a cell is the smallest unit of life. We know cells replicate because that's how we exist. We are made up of trillions of cells. Maybe if we had a basic understanding of a cell's function, we could understand our own self a bit better. A cell has 3 main functions: integrity, balance, fluidity. Integrity, to stay intact, true to who you are here to be. Balance, not too much, not too little, enough. Fluidity, able to flow, adapt, flexibility. If a cell is coded for balance, enough, is it safe to say that as a human, you are fundamentally enough? I think so. Check out this definition of fluidity: the ability of a substance to flow easily, smooth elegance or grace, the state of being unsettled or unstable, changeability. What if we practice telling ourselves the story of what we fundamentally are instead of what we think we are not? Just like digital technology has evolved and builds on itself, our nervous system has evolved and continues to build on itself. Let's keep this general. Life started with a cell, started in water. The cell had to have a sense of itself. The nervous system developed as a way for life to know itself and to sense anything that could get in the way of safety and survival. Let's call this first function the reptilian brain. It's the tip top of your spine. It's the pink knob in the picture where the arrow is pointing. We are wired, coded for survival. It's like a smoke alarm. A limbic system grew above the brainstem. It makes me think of limbs like arms and legs and dry land. There's a right side and a left side. Each side includes the yellow curved hippocampus and the orange amygdala. In general, this area contains, digests, and organizes memories and emotions. It is responsible for regulating or managing impulses and urges that lead to behavior, our actions and inactions. It's the reason we don't have to touch the stove and burn our hand every time to know that it's hot. A cortex, the spongy blue part of our brain in the picture, grew from the back to the front. I think of monkeys and apes evolving and using the skill of mimicry or copying to grow and adapt to life. In general, I think of the back brain as the part of our brain that mimics or copies behavior. To mimic is a useful skill. Like all the parts of our brain and nervous system, the function serves to support us. When we are unaware that we are mimicking others, we may lose the sense of who we are and who we are born to be. This can be confusing as we are growing up. Sorry for the awkward pauses. Doo doo. And then came the front of our brain, the last part to evolve. This is where those inner resources called executive functions live. These inner resources help us move toward discomfort and problem solve. This intelligence allows us to function as a human. It gives us higher order thinking skills. We are the most advanced form of life, as far as we know. As a human, we no longer need fangs to access a food source. We don't need thick hair and rough skin to survive and stay warm at night. We don't need to roar to warn those in our tribe of danger. We have the resources to meet all those needs for safety and survival. Humans can move toward discomfort and problem solve to create sustainable, lasting growth outcomes that contribute to a healthy expansion of physical life for all existence. An integrated brain connects us from within to the shared humanity all around us. So, what are my executive functions? My executive functions live in my prefrontal cortex, the last part of my human brain to develop, the green area in this slide. My executive functions are what separate me from other species. I can think, reason, and problem solve. Sorry for the delay. We're going to use our next worksheet next. Here we go. Let's learn about 9 specific executive function skills that can help us move toward discomfort to achieve desired outcomes or growth. Let's see what you know by connecting the skill with its definition. So, We paused the video. So now we're ready to practice to see if we can put these skills to use. Choose one of the 5 elements of happiness that you want more of. Pick one that you have the least resistance to. Pick one that you know is always available, but maybe you just have never focused on it. Truth is, all of these elements are always available. We just forget. We are going to use a planning tool called Get Ready, Do Done to help us achieve new outcomes and happiness. This is a simple way to work with our brain because it's the way our brain works. We'll begin with an end in mind. What is the done goal? What is the desired outcome? If I achieve my done goal, what will it look like, sound like, and feel like? I can use my imagination to create and paint a picture in my mind using my senses as if it's happening in real time. The next slide, I'll give you an example. For example, if I want more meaning in my life, maybe this looks like spending time in nature. Maybe it sounds like fresh, cold air, if that even makes a sound, or the sounds of animals that may be present. What does time in nature feel like? Can you use your imagination to allow for the sense of satisfaction that may come when you achieve the done goal? A sense of, well, it is a happiness indicator. Moving backwards from done, what are 3 things I can do to get done? And I've been using 4: first, next, then, and finally. But you get it. Moving backward from done, what do I need to be ready to be ready? How can I organize my materials to get ready to work my plan? Did you notice we went backward to go forward? Now it's your turn. Let's see what skills we used.